You're on the Bible Forum. It's Sunday night. We do this every Sunday night from 8 to 10 Eastern. You can join us live on the website, thebibleforum.net. Everybody talks about the weather. Nobody does anything about it. Have you heard that California wants to ban gasoline-powered vehicles? That's not news. They've been talking about this as long as I can remember. But what's new is they've set a date. Starting in the year 2035, that's less than 15 years from now, California plans to ban the sale of gasoline-powered cars and trucks. The effort? To encourage electric vehicles. The purpose? To reduce climate warming emissions. This according to Governor Gov Newsom in a release September 23rd of this year. Newsom believes this move will actually boost California's auto producers and stimulate sales. Why? Well, because the planet's suffering from our abusive ways. And if we don't do something about it, the consequences are going to be huge. Now, that no other nation cares as much, spends as much money and time on this or anything like it, doesn't seem to matter. We must do what we can. What if all we can is not enough? I mean, we're only one nation. And this is only one state in one nation. Of course, if it's the right thing to do, it really doesn't matter how many others are willing to do it. California is committing to a firm goal to phase out the sale of new gasoline-powered vehicles by 2035 and is encouraging other states to take similar action. California also has the broader goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 80% from 1990 levels, 80% by 2050. Sadly, in recent years, transportation sector emissions have increased. President Trump has sought to bar California from requiring the sale of electric vehicles, while Democrat rival Joe Biden has pledged to spend billions to speed the adoption. Biden spokesman Matt Hill said electric vehicles can, quote, create 1 million good-paying union jobs, dominate a fast-growing market worldwide, and meet the demands of the climate crisis, end of quote. Reality? Only Western nations are concerned at all about carbon emissions, and not all of them. And their concern is not quickly turning into reality. As long as the rest of the world continues to operate on the same basis as always, what is 1/3 of the globe going to accomplish? And so far, we're only talking about one state in 1/3 of the globe. On the other side, something's better than nothing. But what if all of this is simply a hoax? What if it's not real? Or what if it is absolutely useless? The planet has warmed and cooled several times over the last 6,000 years. If God created it for human habitation, did he not factor in industrial manufacturing, automobile pollution? Or is this just the way the world's going to end? Well, the problem is, according to the Bible, that the world is always 1,007 years from the end. Whatever that might be, whenever that might happen. How do I know? Well, like the children say, because the Bible told me so. Of course, if a responsible human being should take care to preserve rather than destroy, but at the same time, this world is pretty hardy. It'll take more than we puny human beings to destroy it. And you see, God has reserved that for himself. But for some, ecological preservation is their religion. And it's always good to do the right thing, no matter the motivation. So what is going on with the weather? In April, more than 600 tornadoes shredded the U.S., shattering the previous April record of 267. 312 of them came in a single 12-hour period, the worst of which was 20 times normal size. It tore a scar 1 mile wide and a record 300 miles long across Alabama and Georgia. Meanwhile, severe flooding deluged other parts of the country, even as Texas was suffering its worst drought since 1895, creating perfect conditions for thousands of wildfires. Thus, wheat crops withered in Texas, while farms drowned in Missouri. In August, Hurricane Irene left 4 million businesses and homes without power as it swept up the east coast of the United States. All total, $12 billion disasters pounded the United States in 2011, 3 more than the previous record set in 2008. These catastrophic events killed 1,000 Americans and caused $52 billion in damages. As the Associated Press reported on December 7, 2011, quote, with an almost biblical onslaught of twisters, floods, snow, drought, heat, and fire, the U.S. in 2011 has seen more weather catastrophes that caused at least $1 billion in damage than it did in all of the 1980s. Even after the dollar figures from back then are adjusted for inflation. Breaking it down further, Associated Press revealed this alarming trend that during the 1980s, the U.S. averaged just $1 billion disaster a year. In the 1990s, it jumped to 3.8 per year, then 4.6 during the first decade of the new millennium. For just the first 2 years of the following decade, the U.S. has averaged $7.5 billion disasters per year. 2012 continued the same trend with severe drought, the worst since the Dust Bowl of 1930. In a number of countries and affecting almost 2/3 of the U.S., causing devastating wildfires and severe agricultural losses. Colorado was ravaged by its worst wildfire in state history, with hundreds of homes destroyed. A series of tornadoes plowed through the American Midwest in February, killing 13 people, injuring hundreds. The year continued with significant events around the globe. According to Oxford University's Our World in Data, the year 2013 through 2016 saw an eye-popping total of 1,441 natural catastrophes. That's one severe disaster almost every single day. Those disasters killed more than 77,000 people, caused nearly $500 billion worth of damage. Tornadoes, earthquakes, and at least one typhoon were among the events. In August 2017, Hurricane Harvey dropped a year's worth of rain on the Houston area in just 2 days. The National Weather Service say the event is unprecedented and all impacts are unknown and beyond anything experienced. Days later, Hurricane Irma crushed the Caribbean islands and the east coast of the United States. It was the largest ever hurricane to strike from the Atlantic Ocean. Soon after that, Hurricane Maria obliterated Puerto Rico. More than 100 people died in these hurricanes, and the U.S. sustained hundreds of billions of dollars in damage. Puerto Rico is not yet recovered. The list goes on. We've experienced tremendous disasters in recent decades. It appears the frequency is increasing. So what? We're using Greek letters today to identify the hurricanes this year, having run out of the several dozen names the Weather Bureau allowed. And they tell us only the second time. All in all, it appears that disasters are occurring around the world at increasing frequencies. And the question becomes, is this simply a cycle? Or are we truly reaching the end of the age? And of course, the answer to that question is always yes. But as I mentioned before, at any given point, the earth is always 1,007 years away from when God is going to destroy it. And it will remain, the Bible says, seed time and harvest until God comes. It's God who established the physical laws that govern our world. God has, with the exception of Israel, allowed people to live as they please. That human beings are foolish when it comes to what's important is just normal. But the Bible teaches us that there is a day of reckoning, that there is a law of the universe that says, whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap. It's two different places in the New Testament. Galatians chapter 6 and 2 Corinthians chapter 9. Now, we in the 21st century are largely ignorant of God, and even more ignorant of Satan, who has the power to alter natural affairs. The ancients used to offer sacrifices in an effort to ease the pain of droughts and disease, things they could not control. We got technology. Would that we would pay more attention to God, pray more, and live in such a way as to honor Him.